Welcome back, Halo followers. So today we have Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, commenting on Halo's future, saying that it is the heart and soul of Halo is with 343, and that 343 remains critically important to the success of Halo. Now, I'm going to comment on this. He actually does say quite a bit, but of course, he's going to do some damage control being the head of Xbox. And I also got to say that, he is not to blame for the fallout of everything that's happened with Microsoft. I think things are a little bit more complicated than just pointing to one executive, right? Obviously, I have my own opinions and thoughts about everything that's gone on here. I don't think Microsoft should be buying companies like Activision if they can't take care of their first party IPs already, like Halo, but that's pretty much the extent of what I'll be saying about that. I don't think it's right that they fired all these people, and it really is unfortunate, and I feel for them. A lot of great people at 343 were fired, and I don't care if everyone's like, oh, fire 343. I think there was a lot of good talent there that I do not think was good to be thrown away. Thankfully, there's still certain affinity. But anyway, let's get to the article. So, speaking to IGN, Spencer first celebrated Halo's initial launch, saying that 343 did a really good job delivering a great Halo game. But he followed up by acknowledging they didn't hit our own bar for content update, timing, and quality. Quite frankly, that didn't really hit anyone's bar. The community wasn't happy. They've lost most of the population. We know what happened here. And quite frankly, I would like for him to be a little bit more critical of what 343 did with Halo Infinite. Obviously, it was not just hitting their own bar for timing and quality. I mean, it's kind of been a disaster. So he goes on to say a whole lot here. He says, what we're doing now is we want to make sure that the leadership team is set up with the flexibility to build the plan that we need to go build. Spencer continued, and Halo will remain critically important to what Xbox is doing. And 343 is critically important to the success of Halo. In terms of support studios and other things, that's just part of the development, having other partners help us. And I think he's talking about certain affinity there because we do know that they are working on something good. But the heart and soul of Halo is with 343 and the team that's there. And I have the utmost confidence is that the team that's there and leading in the plan that they're going to have moving forward. So, I really don't like hearing about a company planning and planning and planning over the course of a year. I obviously know that planning is essential, but I mean, enough with the planning. Where's the goods? Where's the content? Where are these seasons? I mean, we've had a 10-month season or whatever it was, and now another 6-month season. I mean, it's just been really rough. It's been really rough, and we're having rumors that season 4 will be the last season. I mean, what is the plan now? Again, I think it's easy to think that Halo is over with because so many people were let go. But 343, last time we heard, had about 700 employees. And to be more realistic, I think it was more like 500 working on the games, like MCC and Infinite. Although we've heard that the MCC team got gutted. Thankfully, they've pretty much completed their mission of bringing MCC to PC, making it really well rounded with free content updates and mods. So it's in a place where I'm okay with development being put on pause for a while, maybe a couple years. Maybe I still want to see MCC prosper. But now we have the Infinite team, the live service team, taking the smallest hit that we've heard anyway throughout all of the firings at 343. Mainly, what seems to be hurting at 343 is the more cinematic and campaign and story kind of people. Obviously, we have Joseph Staten backing off from 343, going back into Xbox Publishing. So it's good that he's still with the same company, and it would probably be easy for him to go back to 343, but that's a huge hit to the modern Halo fans' morale when you're sitting here thinking about the narrative of everything. That's big. And so when asked what the plan was going forward might entail, Spencer deferred to letting 343 explain in its own time, but did note that the team still had some other things, some rumored, some announced, that they'll be working on. So that is kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting that he actually mentioned, Phil Spencer mentioned that they are working on some rumored things. Makes me think about like the Tatanka rumor, the Battle Royale rumors, as well as like Infection and these other kind of modes. And, you know, Extraction bringing the Banish to PvP, and that maybe that they're working on that. That's what Phil Spencer said. Some other things, some rumored and some announced. So that's actually pretty cool. Halo is always going to be one of those things in my mind, he says, that is part of Xbox lore, part of just the foundation of what Xbox is about. So now this makes me worry too. You know, he's talking about how building a leadership to plan. I'm like, okay. But then he's also saying that it's part of Xbox lore. Really? It's just part of the history now, huh? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being hypercritical here. Maybe not. I expect that we'll be continuing to support and grow Halo for as long as the Xbox is a platform for people to play. So I think the timeline goes on and on in line with Xbox, and I want to make sure that the team's set up with that to succeed. Yeah, I would too. This is ultimately a good thing. I'm being a little bit critical here, but ultimately, this is good. The head of Xbox is saying, hey, we're going to take care of Halo. But quite frankly, it's hard for me to also believe that he takes it to heart. As he does say here, his next line is that he takes all the layoffs to heart and acknowledge that as the person with business responsibility to create a safe place where people can do their best work, the very fact that layoffs is happening at all meant he hasn't succeeded. So, you know, I think Phil Spencer is been a great lead for Xbox for a long time. I don't really think that he could have stopped this from happening. I think this is a little bit bigger, obviously, than just Xbox. People were cut all across the board at Microsoft, and this was something to deal with investors and stock and, you know, base business plans. Though it's, you know, this is not about Halo even. Everyone is hurt in the ecosystem. But, you know, quite frankly, it does leave a bad taste in my mouth thinking about how, you know, Microsoft is over here acquiring all these companies for the Game Pass. And I do worry that the Game Pass is troublesome for Halo because, you know, here's a little bit of inside scoop. You can take it with a grain of salt if you like, but I heard this from a genuine good source that proved things to be correct in the past. And is that Microsoft didn't really care what 343 did with the multiplayer, that they were pretty much responsible for the entire thing. The only thing that Microsoft really cared about was the value that Halo would add to the Game Pass. And this is in alignment with evidence that we're seeing, first-hand evidence and third-hand evidence that Microsoft, all they care about is putting Xbox on the Game Pass, getting that Game Pass value up, making it the Netflix of gaming. It's a really good plan. I mean, I'm pro Game Pass. I don't have it, but I don't play games enough to justify it. But I mean, it would have made sense to just buy the Game Pass for $1 for the first month or whatever, $10 a month, have all access to all these games, and with Halo Infinite. I just don't like how it's deteriorating the first party games, and that I hate to see Microsoft kind of go down this route of abandoning Halo and their first party IPs, because I think why there is a lot of success to have in the Game Pass to ignore Halo, to give it, you know, allow this contracting business to go on and getting third-party vendors to create base assets in your game. That's not the way. It's not the way to create a successful first-party IP game. And I think one day Microsoft is going to wish they had put a little bit more time and effort, because they have too much money, they have too much time to be getting, you know, to have this happen in the first place at all. They should not be getting hit. 343 and Microsoft is already, I mean, 343 is already understaffed as is, so they should have just not cut anyone from 343. And to not see the value in Halo long term, even with a short term recession, I think it's just foolish. I think it's just a bad idea. But with that being said, ultimately, the takeaway from today's video is that Phil Spencer says that he's going to set up the leadership team, build a plan moving forward. This is good news. I don't want you to leave this video thinking that it's bad news, but I am getting a little bit like annoyed by like how things are going, because I don't think it should be going this bad. And again, this is bigger than just Halo, and this really doesn't have anything to do with Halo ultimately, but Halo did not need this. It was not in a position to receive a hit like this. It was already struggling, and to lose so many talented people working on the campaign, to working on cinematics, and even some stuff that would tie in with, like, you know, cinematics with multiplayer and the multiplayer narrative, and most likely probably just multiplayer and MCC in general. Um, Not good. Not good, Haas. It doesn't make sense. And I hope they can hire those people back as soon as possible, or hire some new Halo fans, or do something. Do something, because, like, Halo really does need it. But this is good news anyway. I'm just, venting a little bit about, some grievances I've had on how they've handled this whole thing. But anyways, guys, you let me know what you think about this down in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one soon. Peace.